Hi, Salam Alaikum. Sulaiman Rahim here. Welcome. Critical analytics. In this session, we want to talk about pressure. Pressure is everything. So we're going to deal with pressure, or talk about pressure, do some critical analytics on pressure and try to explain it, how we're involved in it, how it describes the events that's going on. Okay, let's proceed. Pressure. Pressure defines our universe. We have to understand pressure is just force. Without force, nothing happens. Nothing happens without force. Pressure is simply force spread out. It's force divided by space, whatever space, volume, or plane. It's just force. That's what pressure is. Our whole existence is defined by pressure. The universe is in two distinct states, pressure and tension. Tension is the reverse of pressure. Tension is the opposite of pressure. If you will, tension is negative, pressure is positive. They're just opposites of each other. Tension pulls things apart, pressure pushes things together. That's the two basic states of the universe, two most fundamental states. The universe expands, that's in tension mode, and it contracts in pressure mode. And that's all energy. Energy is the only thing that exists. Pressure and tension are just aspects of energy, but energy is it, period. So I'm not going to a detailed analysis of energy and tension and pressure. I'm just going to speak in terms of how it affects us right now. Now, we see many things happening in the world today. And if we understand how pressure works, we can distill it down to simple pressure. Your thoughts are pressure. That's not an analogy. That's a fact. Because your body will not move without thought. And nothing moves without force. When you're no longer alive, right, your body will not move because there's no thought there to move it. You have to understand that. So we look out in the world today, right? Everything is pressure. Your entire whole existence, your whole body is pressure, right? You have lung pressure. Your heart is a pressure pump, right? When you speak, you're producing sound waves, which are pressure waves. You hear sound, which is pressure waves. It's all pressure. There's no exceptions. Your reproductive system is based on pressure. There's no exceptions to this rule. So, when you understand that, then you have an understanding of how things are going now. Because we look around, and our atmosphere is pressure, right? And weather is pressure differential, because weather is currents. When you have a current, that means you have a pressure differential. That means higher pressure is moving towards lower pressure. That's what weather is. When there's no pressure differential, there's no weather. It means just calm. So you can learn a lot from just that understanding. Because based on understanding, right, you're saying, why is all this weather tearing America apart? Because America is a low pressure area, which means a low thought area. Pressure is thought. And our thought, right, is greater than the atmospheric pressure, or we wouldn't be able to survive. Even the animal brains their brains are greater than the atmospheric pressure, not to the extent of us, because they wouldn't survive. Because their brain has to operate that heart and that lungs and those things that keep the pressure inside equal to the pressure outside, or they will be crushed. So, you have a low pressure system in America. And so, when you have a low pressure system, you have a higher pressure system outside of America, because all the storms and everything is coming here, hurricanes come here. That means the pressure outside is greater than the pressure inside. That our thought affects the weather. See, we control the weather. That's something you need to understand. We control it more and more as time goes on. We lost a great deal amount of control of the weather as a result of energy deprivation. Those who are familiar with the engine knows what I'm talking about. I talk about energy deprivation. But now we're starting to gain control again. So we see America inundated with pressure from every aspect. See, their whole political system is based, it comes out of the pressure of their brains, pressure of their minds. It comes out of their minds. So in other words, it's going to reflect how powerful the pressure of their mind is. So it'll come with systems that reflects that. And those systems was able to survive for 500 years because we're in a low pressure situation. But now the pressure is increasing, those systems cannot withstand the pressure of a contracting universe. Because the universe is in a contracting stage right now. It goes from an expansion stage to a contraction stage. The transition period between an expansion stage and a contraction stage is 6,000 years. That transition period, right, is 6,000 years. At a time of low pressure, because the universe has full extension. That means all the energy that used to be here is out there. That causes a state of energy deprivation. So Dr. Yaku came along and produced a low energy person that required less energy to maintain themselves. As a result, they were able to rule for 6,000 years. But they're low pressure people. See, because they was created in a low pressure environment. I hope that a little more people are not distracting me, brothers and sisters. It seems like every time I want to go live, here they come. So hopefully they'll be going in a few seconds. At any rate, they were created, like the Quran says, in haste. They were created in a low pressure environment to make commissioners shed blood because they were weaker. That was the way they would respond, right, as beasts. That's why they refer to as beasts. A beast would raise up on the earth that would speak to us, right, because they were low pressure, right, low thought power people. Analytical nature. See? They take an analytical approach to everything. So that would hold while we were in that state of energy deprivation for that 6,000 year period, but now we're coming out of it, the pressure is increasing, so the pressure is greater than they can withstand. That means it's greater than their mental power, which is pressure, which was created in a low pressure environment. So now the pressure is greater than their mental power. There's nothing they can do about it. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Unless they can stop the universe from contracting. So all their systems, all their systems, all their institutions, everything, right? Because it came out of their low pressure mind, are crumbling. Every one of them, no exception, because all of it came out of their mind. They thought it was great because pigs think pig pens are great. They thought it was great, and it held for 6,000. It held for 6,000 years, particularly the last 500 years. It held. no one could do anything with it. See, because it was in the right time. It was in a time frame of low pressure, and that we was also suffering low pressure because we suffered energy deprivation. So our minds, our mental pressure was diminished because we didn't have enough energy to maintain, to maintain our full mental capacity. It takes energy for everything. You need to get used to that, brothers and sisters. It takes energy to look, to see, to think, to eat, to walk, the heartbeat. It takes energy for everything. There's no exceptions. So when you run out of energy, then those things start, you become diminished. So we were diminished for the last 500 years. We were diminished mentally, physically. So they were able to rule because they were not diminished. But now that the pressure is exceeding their ability to withstand it, they're collapsing. They've been crushed at every point. All over the world, they've been rolled up. They couldn't defeat sheep herders over in Afghanistan. They was rolled up in Vietnam that couldn't beat rice farmers. They've been rolled up all over. There's nothing they can do about it. They cannot find the wisdom to overcome this because their wisdom is based on pressure, and they cannot produce the kind of pressure they need to withstand the pressure that they're being subjected to. But we cannot be destroyed because we were created under the most intense pressure the universe can produce. Total contraction. When the universe is totally contracted, that's what produced us. So our mental power was equal to the total pressure of the total contract universe. I'm going to have to redo this, brothers and sisters, because they're getting louder and louder, unfortunately. Apologize for that. I see they got GPS on me because as soon as I started, every time I do a live one, here they come. It's quiet to turn out. So I'm going to go a little slower. Hopefully they may disappear in a few seconds, a few minutes. Because they're actually getting louder and louder and louder now. At any rate, they'll do anything to try to suppress this information. I think they're getting ready to finish up. Give me a couple of seconds here, brothers and sisters. Anyway, brothers and sisters, as I was saying, there's nothing they can do because they do not have the mental power to overcome the pressure that they're being subjected to. and additionally, we were the original people were created under the most intense pressure that the universe could summon. So our thought pressure equals the pressure of a totally compressed universe, and there's no pressure greater than that. So there's nothing they can do to destroy us. They can maybe trick us into destroying ourselves, and that's impossible too. I mean, there's some they're gonna, some will be taken, but the majority, the elect, they will not be able to touch them. So the pressure works, brothers and sisters. There's no force in the universe that can destroy us, nothing. But they only had a 6,000-year window to operate in. And once the universe returned to its contraction phase, then the energy increases, the pressure increases as the universe contracts. It's in a pressure phase. As it contracts, it gets, pressure gets greater and greater and greater. That's what they're experiencing right now. Increasing pressure. Every aspect of their civilization is under intense pressure, increasing pressure. The roads up all around the world, right? You see, the weather America's a low pressure. That's why they've been hit with all these hurricanes and it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse, much worse. It's going to be much worse. See, you only see in the beginning. That's why the Quran says, people are going to say, what became of the earth? See, rocking to and fro, swaying to and fro. It's going to get worse, specifically here in America. See, until it's crushed out of existence. That's the weather. Remember I said that other people, everybody's been energized. Now people that are using their energy efficiently, right? That means their mental power is increasing. But we see America being very wicked. Their energy, even with the energy they have, they're misusing it. They're not using it efficiently. So they're being impacted by a self-inflicted energy deprivation. Because instead of using their energy to maintain themselves, improve themselves, to strengthen themselves, they use it frivolously, partying, drinking, smoking, hanging out, all the stuff they're doing. It takes energy to do that. So that energy they're not using to maintain themselves. If they did that, they could last longer. But they won't do it because we got nature. So therefore, what's happening in America? Depression. They have an epidemic depression in America. And what do? They go to a doctor, psychiatrist or whatever, and they can't do anything for it, so they prescribe medication. See, because they can't come find the wisdom to offset that pressure. So they give medication. What does medication do? It does not stop the pressure. It just makes you not feel it. Like when you take surgery, right? They're cutting you up, you just don't feel it. You're still being cut up. So that's what these drugs do. It just, you don't feel the pressure as you're being crushed. Being crushed to death, you just don't feel it. See? And opioid, right? OD. Opioid epidemic, because people are depressed, anxious, and nervous, and paranoid, everything, because the pressure is building and they can't handle it. These are all signs of a nation under pressure being crushed. See? Look, the whole political system they thought was so great, now they got political paralysis. They never say anything like that in America. So they say, oh, majority rule, but what if you don't have majority and you got 50% and 50%? Then you got stalemate, you got paralysis, nothing can happen. That's what's going on. They never had anything like that in America before. Because all the institutions, everything is not working anymore. Because the pressure's too great. and they can't solve their problems. And they can promise you they can't solve anything. They got this virus. It's pressure. It's replicating at an astounding rate. See, relative to them. Why? Because what's happening is that they don't. Yes, like I said, if you understand things in pressure, these things become very simple. See, this thing they tell you replicates very fast, and each new version replicates faster than the previous one. That's pressure. See, it's like you're in the elevator, and all of a sudden you start becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. In other words, say you divide to become 2 people, and you become 4 people, 5 people. But the elevator's already full, so you put pressure on everybody. They're gonna start pushing back. So this thing replicating so fast than antibodies can deal with them. So if they increase that, say, increase 5 every minute, and your antibody system can increase 10 every minute, then you're good to go. See, because you got 5 knocked out, and you got 5 left to deal with everything else. Whoever bumps up to 10 or 15, now all of a sudden it knocks out your by antibodies, and then it starts raging, raging through your body. And his name's replicating. That's why they first tell you, one shot. Then 2 shots. Now 3 shots, boosters. Because what they're telling you is, you have to read between the lines, what they're telling you is that the virus replicating faster and faster, so now you got to produce antibodies faster. But that can't go unlimited, because after a while, you poison your body, right? Because you're putting too many antibodies in there. You can't have too many antibodies in there. You throw the balance of your body off, and some of the antibodies start attacking you. Just have system failures. And you're going to start seeing that pretty soon. You're saying, well, we need another booster. I mean, it was just a month ago they was telling you only had 1. And how long ago after that? They said, well, you need a second one. Now they tell you need a 3rd one, a booster. And that's going to do it. See? And before long, they be telling you you're going to need a 4th one. See? But they can't, there's no plague on this planet that can replicate faster than the original people's bodies. So that's how we would go. It would not affect us. A plague, 1619 to 2019, 400 years. 1619 to 2019, 400 years. 2020 would be a plague that would kill the firstborn elderly. It would pass over the original people. And that's what it's doing. It was passing over Haiti. And they killed the president because he refused to take the shots. It was passing over Black Africa. And those presidents started dying mysteriously, because they refused to take them, because they forced it. So why are they forcing it? You have to ask yourself that question. When it was revealed that over the millions of people they've been giving the shots to, half of them were placebos. So, and they won't tell people who got the real thing, but if this is so bad, everybody got to have it, then why are they giving only half of the people? And what half of the people are they giving it to? That means there must be something else going on. But we don't have to go into that kind of detail. See, I mean, like I say, you say you can't see the forest for the trees. Now, some of us are detailed people, so we can go into the details. I mean, that's just the way we are. There's no problem with that. But if you understand how things work, you don't have to go into details. You just know the building's collapsing. I say, well, man, look like the stairs are going to collapse. Look like the windows are going to collapse. Look like the wall, this room is going to collapse. You say, no, the whole damn thing is collapsing. See, the military all over the world. See, they're getting pushed by China, being pushed around by China and Russia on every level, and it's all pressure. And pressure produces, when you're under pressure, pressure produces the strongest, right, into the center to withstand, right, the body, right, to restructure the body to handle the pressure. Let me say it again. When you put something under pressure, it starts reconstructing itself, right? To handle the pressure. It's like when you put pressure on your shoulder, you put a 100-pound bag on your shoulder, you start shifting it because it's too heavy there. Trying to find where it won't bother you so much. And that's how diamonds are formed, because you put pressure, you cold enough pressure, right? It doesn't change the material, it's still carbon. The carbon just rearranges itself to a stronger form to withstand the pressure. That's what diamond is, because diamond is the hardest substance known to mankind. See, to withstand all that pressure that coal was put under. So when you put something under pressure, it restructures itself, right, to withstand that pressure. And if it can't do it, then it's crushed. If it has the ability to restructure itself, right, then it transforms. It's either positive construction or a negative, right, reconstruction, but it's still going to reform, it's going to restructure itself. So if it's a positive, right, it turns into a new, right, transform into something stronger. If it's negative, that means it's crushed to dust. See? So we see that back in the, we understand how these things work. See, you got these people going around here, you got the so-called Sunnis fighting the Shia and all that kind of stuff. They don't understand their own religion. They don't understand the Quran. See? The Quran itself tells you that it will survive until the Gog and Magog was let loose. It tells you that. It says right in there. It says, okay, thou Quran, build this wall, right? But it says it would be torn down, and they would rise to every elevated place, and nobody could destroy them but Allah Himself. It tells you, but they still don't understand that. See? At any rate, the Quran, see, when scriptures are atom bombs, ATTOM, atoms, because what they do, they change reality. Remember, this pressure is like it's like putting when the scriptures, it's a bomb, but it has to be ignited. See, because you have time bombs up there, but you have to ignite it. It won't explode by itself. You have to ignite it. See, and reality is based on thought. Our reality here is based on thought. Right now, we're living in the reality of thought, right? We live on the reality of Buddha, Muhammad, Jesus, Moses. We live on those realities. Our thoughts of people, right? That brought scripture, ignited them, and then we live on those realities. That's what scriptures are. And so every time there's a relevant time, a scripture is given, it's ignited by a person, that person changes reality, right? For that period of time. See? And then when time changes, right? We need a new reality to deal with that time, to deal with the pressure of that time. We give the scripture. And those who believe, right? They transform themselves to a stronger structure to deal with that greater pressure. Those disbelieve don't, so they're crushed by it. It's very simple. So, Prophet Muhammad ignited the Quran. It caused an atomic explosion, right, that lasted 1,000 years. And it put so much pressure on the Europeans, it caused them to transform. They had transformed all of their systems, everything else. Because once you transform, that means the pressure doesn't bother you anymore. The pressure has no effect on you anymore. At least that level of pressure. So once they transform, the Islamic Empire had no power over them. The Islamic Empire has not won a battle in the last 500 years. They don't understand that. It has no power over them anymore, because that was the force that was used to construct this reality that we're living in right now, under Gog and Magog. So that Islam, that version of Islam, right, cannot have no impact on them whatsoever. They're playing with it. See? Until at the end of that period of time, right, then it was said one would come and they would ignite the scripture for the changing times that would blow away this reality and set up a reality that will last forever. It won't be, it'll be a change of reality that will it will constantly be growing. I mean, a million years from now, it won't be like this. But people understand the idea how scripture works, that you have to constantly keep on advancing and creating your reality. But the fourth foundation will be laid, and that will not be destroyed. The foundation of that new reality. That's what's going on, brothers and sisters. See? So, the wise thing to do, that's why we have the 5 mathematical principles of Islam, because they teach you how to efficiently use your energy to come out of energy deprivation as fast as you can. See, because a lot of us are suffering self-imposed energy deprivation this time because we have enough energy right now to maintain ourselves. But we're pissing it away, so to speak. So to speak, that's exactly what we're doing. Because they taught us to live like they're living. Right? To be, what was the word to use? Careless. Without energy. So instead of taking energy and like using it, right? Because it's our nature to do it. It's our nature to do it, but you've been taught against it. See? The original people said nature to do it, so they're going to respond in a minute. But right now, they're suffering energy and self-imposed energy deprivation because they they're misusing their energy inefficiently. They're using it inefficiently. Partying, hanging out, all that kind of stuff. And this time, unprecedented trouble. This time, you should be right on up. You should be focusing on your health, because what they're telling you basically that this so-called, well, what they call it, this plague, right, is taking out the people. The more healthy you are, the least you're affected by it. That should tell you right there. I mean, that tell you right there. So if you plan and playing around with your energy, hanging out, partying, drinking, smoke, all that kind of stuff, the stupid stuff that they have you doing, then you're going to suffer the consequence of that, because that's self-imposed energy deprivation. Because you shouldn't be suffering energy deprivation to that level, not anymore. Not after 2020, our 40 years was over. So, brothers and sisters, I'm not going to prolong this. Let's see. Okay, been about 30 minutes. We lost some of it, all that noise. Hope it didn't take too much away from it. But that's the way pressure works, brothers and sisters. Pressure has just 3 variables to it. Collisions, like in a balloon, you have molecules that are colliding. That's the actual measure of pressure, the collisions, the intensity of it. How intense are the collisions, right? And temperature, how fast the molecules are moving. So the faster they're moving, that's going to be more intense the collision is going to be, and the more frequent the collision is going to be. See, but how fast they're moving, that's the measure of heat. The faster molecules are moving, that's the measure of heat. That's called temperature. Temperature is how fast molecules are moving. The faster they're moving, hotter. The slower they're moving, the cooler. When you get down to freezing, they're barely moving at all. When you get to fire, they're moving very fast. See, that's why it's destructive. See. Then you have volume, which is how many molecules there are in the balloon itself. The more molecules you put in there, the more pressure you're going to have. The balloon's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's all it is. It's just simple as that. That's why I call it the simplicity of Christ. Our creation is very simple, but it's complex to the simple mind. See, I was saying that simple minds complicate, complex minds simplify. Simplify. See, because if you got a weak mind, everything's complicated to you. If you got a powerful mind, everything becomes simple. It's all simple, brothers and sisters, and our people will understand it. Once they understand it, it'll be awesome. See? So hopefully you understand, brothers and sisters. They cannot find, it's impossible for them to find the wisdom, right, to offset this pressure. The only alternative they have when you're under pressure and you cannot withstand it, you can sit there and be crushed or try to get rid of that what's causing the pressure. And that's war. Because internally, we are causing the pressure internally. See, all these hurricanes, all this bad weather coming, so that's externally. Remember, your mental attitude influences the weather. And so the mental attitude of all the enemies outside, that's part of what's causing this pressure. It's coming in. It's folks like GPS. And pressure moves from high pressure to low pressure. So the weakest minded people on Earth, in America, are the ones going to be most affected. It's like that pressure comes, a hurricane comes through. I don't know if you've seen it. They said they tore the house down, but didn't tear it up. And I said, how in the hell that happened? It's not like a scalpel. It blew that house down, but that house right next to it didn't blow down. See? Because it comes because the way pressure works, it goes from high pressure to low pressure. And it crushes low pressure. Right? So when it comes through, if you apply the 5 mathematical principles of Islam, then your pressure is greater than the pressure is coming, so it's not going to affect you. And that might roll you around like a basketball or something, but it won't crush you. And that's why I use the 5 pillars of Islam, because then you have that gyroscopic aspect, the torque aspect, which, right? Because it's hard to knock that over. So you can walk in firm. It's not bothering you at all. That's why it says no weapon formed, right, will harm you. The scripture just said that. It says no weapon formed, so no hair on your head will be harmed. The Quran says once you're on the right way, nothing can harm you. See? But then you need the angel, because you have that, right? But the angel itself, right, puts you in tune with the universe. Because the universe is constantly changing. So you had to be time travelers. It's not going to be tomorrow as it is today. See, the 5 pillars of Islam hand you that 5 pillars, that hands you for dealing with the present circumstance where you are with the pressure as it is. But you're moving in time. Right? So things change. See, things are constantly changing. See? And that's what the God is. That's why, who is the God? The God is the one that's foremost in changing, the most effective in changing the time of the times. See, because time is just transforming energy from one form to another. That's what time is. If there's no transformation of energy from one form to another, there's no time. Everything just stands still. So you transform from one form to another. And so the God at that time, that's the one that's the main, he's transforming the time. And you have to keep up with him. That's how you define who the God is. That's why I said Satan is the God of this world, because for the 6,000 years, he was able to transform time. You see right now, look at the world you're living in right now. This coming, a lightning bolt and hit them. This came out of their mind. They transformed the time. They transformed the energy into this form of energy. They took the energy that was there and transformed it into what you see right now. It didn't happen by itself. So now you had a God on the scene. He's transforming this energy into another form of energy, a new reality. And all this will pass away. I said, make all things new. All the former things will pass away. So we got a physical God that's changing, and we got a spiritual one that's changing the world spiritually, and one changing it physically. And that's from Muhammad's really changed it physically. He said that's why he had 2 at the end. He had the high priest, he had the God. High priest will be changed spiritually. He will come with the angel. He will change it spiritually, and the God will change it physically. He had a wheel. And both have 2 things that this world could not deal with. It was too great. They could not conceive of the will. They can't get anywhere near it. They don't have the mental power. They can't come. A million years they would never be able to reproduce it. And also come with an angel that was impossible for anybody to break those seals except. That's how you know who the 2 are. You know, Master Prophet Muhammad, he's the guy that was. He's there. And you know, Suleiman is because he broke the 7 seals. No one else could do it but them. And that's the 2 gods that's happening. One on the spiritual side, one on the physical side. and then increasing the pressure. The angel exploded 1990 and it's transformed the world. And you have to admit this world's been changing dramatically since 1990. Why was that? Most of you don't know it, but that's when the seals were broken. It says when the seals, what tells you? If you read the Revelation, it says, we opened, broken the seal, this happened. Then things start making things happen. By the time we got the seventh seal, it was all over. 7 explosions. Boom, 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 boom. It's all over. That's what's happening, brothers and sisters. But you, brothers and sisters, that's understanding it, you have nothing to worry about. The rest of our brothers and sisters, that's seed of Abraham, you don't have much to worry about either. Right now, you're stumbling around, but we got you. See, you made a deal. Abraham made a deal with God, your forefather. Matter of fact, I came here to certify it, that it's going to be enforced. The reminders of it. Elijah Muhammad spent 40-some years, right, preparing us. But now we're under the demon plague. It said plague would be before him, right, and it'd be pestilence at his footsteps. And we see that, a plague before him. That's why he said the first thing he would have to deal with the plague of demons. That's Farrakhan's people. He's sitting in Elijah's seat. The plague of demons, read Mark. He's Legion. Louis Eugene Grounds and NOI backwards. See? So he says that's first thing Suleiman had to do is deal with him. And first thing Master Muhammad would have to do is deal with Dajjal, or Satan, or Goliath, false Israel. See? So demon plague is taken down. See? And this false reality is taken down at the same time. Bam. It's going to come crash down, and it's going to cause a panic. It's going to cause severe panic, called brain lock in these people, because the whole reality is going in an instant. Mass confusion with no ability to do anything about it. See? And that means they're going to do everything they're going to go ballistic. See? They're going to try to destroy everything. Remember I said, when you got a lot of pressures overcoming you and you can't handle it, you try to shift it. If you can't shift, then you get rid of it. So they're going to try to get rid of us because we causing the pressure internally. That's the angel, Suleiman. They don't have to get rid of us because they realize we're the ones putting the pressure internally. Then they got to get rid of all the other nations, go to war with them because they're putting the pressure externally. That's Armageddon. Time unprecedented trouble. The problem is when they go to pull their nuclear trigger, it's not going to work. Master Muhammad's already took care of that. That means it's going to make it more dramatic. It's going to be something, brothers and sisters. And I'm working hard. I mean, so much information. I had no idea all this information. I had no idea that I'd be doing this. But the point is, there's so much information. And I've only given you a small part of it. So I'm trying to train my injured warriors to start studying so they can start, helping. They're doing a good job. I thank them for everything they're doing, because, I thank for everything they're doing to assist this message. But it's so much, brothers and sisters. And I'm not thinking about it. I've only scratched the surface of all the things you need to know. But it's only 24 hours a day. I'm only one person. But everybody knows I'm constantly studying and getting this information out to you. Okay, brothers and sisters, we're going to leave it there. Hope you understand. See? Understand pressure. They're collapsing. The point is, at what point would the total collapse come? See? And we're already told what to look for. It says we have simultaneously. False Israel taken down by Michael and his angels. First they knock out Gog and Magog. Once they're thrown out, right? Then false Israel is isolated. as Daniel tell you that she'll lay siege to them. It's not going to be a long siege. Actually, the angel will tell you how long it's going to be. It's going to be a very short siege, but they're going to lay siege to them. And that's going to cause a lot of drama, a lot of perplexity, right? A lot of anxiety in the world. Because that's not supposed to happen. See? So what they're expecting is, wow, that must Jesus, because according to this reality, the lie they've been telling you, that when everybody attacks Jerusalem, that's when the Lord's going to come out of this place, hiding place, and go to war against all the enemies of Israel. And so that's what they're expecting. Jesus is going to come, man, now it's all over. He's going to deliver us, right, and kill all the Muslims, all the terrorists, and all the black folks, and everybody else, because we was cursed black. Remember, we got cursed. Ask those people that you love so much. Ask them, who is Adam and Eve? Every day believe that story, these Christians that you say, every day believe that story. And yeah, I believe that story. Okay, if that story is true and they believe it, then was Adam and Eve, was they, what race was they? See, they might pause a little bit because they're trying to figure out where you're coming from. They won't be careful answering that question. See, well, they was white, because they tell you what Jesus was white, right? But I don't see no nappy hair and no bronze feet on those pictures they give you. And that's what the Bible said. That's the scripture, right? So I don't know what he did. Was put some lightning on and straighten his hair. Come down, modern times or whatever. So they, he was white. Let's go. Well, how did we get black then? See, then you get close to where they really think, because they're not going to tell you what they really think, because their scriptures tell them, and the preachers tell them, and they tell their children that. Where did black people come from? But don't tell them I told you this now, right? But they was cursed black. See, they was cursed black. See, because by Noah, when it was a flood and everybody got killed, it was just Noah's family. Noah's family was all white. But he had one son that did some bad things, and so he was cursed black and to be slaves forever. That's what they believe. They're not going to tell you that. If you listen close, someone might tell you. Because some black folks are ignorant enough to accept that. Demons, they'll accept it. See, because they feel that's what demons think. They feel they was cursed black. Because they think they're really white. And they're mad because they got black complexion. Because they want to be like with daddy. So they accept that. So therefore what? They start marrying white and everything else, right? So try to get up out of that curse. See, then you understand how things working. See? So you just ask them. So that whole reality is based on that lie. See? And so when false Israel is taken down, the lie is exposed. That their false Israel that was established because of response to Elijah Muhammad, revealing that we're the true seed of Abraham. They set that lie up. It's been going on for 73 years now. And you got the demons over here. They've been set up, right, to distract us, to lie to us, to deceive us, to suck our blood and everything else. The lead demon is Farrakhan. He's an enemy to the covenant. Because the covenant, the whole purpose of the covenant, whole purpose of Elijah Muhammad, whole purpose of Master Muhammad was, let our people go. Let my people go. And he's saying we ain't going nowhere. Isn't that what Pharaoh said? You ain't going nowhere. Farrakhan said we ain't going nowhere. Don't you get it? He's worked for them. How can you say that we spent 464 years here, right, sacrificing so we can inherit the best part of planet Earth where we came from, to go back home? Elijah Muhammad said we fools to stay in the land of our imprisonment, and we did all our sacrifice to stay here. So what's the purpose of Master Muhammad coming here for? What's the purpose of Elijah Muhammad sacrificed for 400 years, 40 some years? First, oh, that's mean nothing. Don't mean anything. It don't mean nothing, because you ain't going nowhere, because you're sinful. That ain't what Elijah Muhammad taught. That's not what Master Muhammad taught either. We're not sinful people. We've been taught to act other than ourselves. That's a sin, but we was taught that. If you act other than yourself, if you act on yourself on purpose, then that's a sin. But if you force to act on yourself, that's the sin on the person that taught you, that forced you to do that. Because we was told to submit to them. So therefore, anything that we did under their authority is upon them. Understand that, brothers and sisters. Okay, but we're going to leave it there. See? But when false Israel is taken down, that's going to destroy. This whole reality is based on that. Whole reality right now is based. They got the whole world said God can make God will deceive the whole world. The whole world believing that that's true Israel over there, and the whole thing is whole reality. This whole reality we live is based. All the nations, everything supporting false Israel against everybody else. It says, "He who bless Israel, God will bless. He will curse those curse Israel, God will curse." Why is America being cursed then? If they supporting true Israel, but they cursing us, that don't wake you up. See, well, I know how people are waking up. You got a lot of people in Nation of Islam, in Farrakhan Nation of Islam, right? A lot of people in Farrakhan's Nation of Islam. They tells you in Mark. It tells you there. It tells you in Exodus also. There's going to be a big war, battle in a minute, between those who are with Suleiman and those who are with Aaron. And they're going to lose. Because you got a lot of people in there. It tells you right, Exodus. We read this. We read the scriptures. We don't pay attention to news and all this stuff. That tells us exactly what's happening. And it tells us there's a lot of people in Farrakhan Nation of Islam ain't down with him. They want to get rid of him. Right? Just waiting for the right sign to make their move. And then he's gone. He's toast. See? And that's going to happen at the same time, right? So what's the move? They're waiting for the abomination of desolation too. That's sign. That's the sign. When false Israel was taken down, both these things will happen simultaneously. See? And then it says what? Then they're going to have to take us out. Because they see that we the force, we the pressure internally that's causing them to be crushed. Because God's coming after them. Remember, he said that will be the judgment. 2020 will be the judgment. The plague, that plague will be the first of the judgments. So they have to take us out. Because the pressure is overwhelming. Then the total religious pressure. I mean, the whole religious idea has just been destroyed. Total religious foundation has been destroyed. See? That means the people they thought was the people of God, they ain't. They were Satan, the synagogue of Satan. So the whole reality is going to be totally confusion. When you're totally confused, you desperate, you reach out, you strike out. Anything that you can't, is confusing you, that you think is confusing you, and they will attack us immediately. And demons going to attack us, and the Sunnis going to attack us. That's the dragon. See, they're not going to attack the elect because they don't know who elect are. They're going to attack the Levites, Nation of Islam, but Suleiman will be there to protect them. Because it said it'd be a great resurrection. That's when the four winds will blow, and a great army. See, a defensive army. See, we're not going to war with them like that here in America. We're not going to commit any violence. We're going to protect ourselves. We don't have to, because they don't understand our weapons. These tornadoes and everything, those are our weapons. They're coming from us. I hope you understand, brothers. They're coming from us. The hurricanes outside come from the enemies. The pressure building, because their mental pressure is greater than America's, so America's low pressure. And if your mind, your brain, your mind, right, influences the weather. You're going to understand that in a few more days, brothers and sisters. So they don't even realize it, but they're the ones that's bringing all this pressure, right? Pressure differential on America, and it's crushing America. Pretty soon America have to go to war with them. And then in here, tornadoes and cyclones, those are local. See, they don't come from outside; they're inside. That's coming from the pressure differential from inside. That's us and them. See? That's what's going on. See? So by me telling you, I'm teaching them also. But we don't worry about them because they don't understand so much of it anyway. But they don't have to try to destroy the pressure, internal pressure. They have to go to war with external pressure. But they cannot defeat it because they cannot come to the wisdom, the mental wisdom, because they're, by definition, their mental pressure is weaker than the pressure that they're being exposed to. So they cannot come up with an idea, no wisdom, anything to defeat it. No tactic, no strategy, anything. So our weapon here is the weather. We don't have to buy any guns and like these fools. We're going to ballot or the bullet. Okay, where you going to get the bullet from, stupid? The ballot sounds tough. The ballot and the bullet. Where you going to get the bullet from? Oh, master, give me some bullets I can shoot you with. How dumb is that? And when you run out, can I buy some more bullets to shoot you with? How dumb is that? Sound powerful. That dummies will listen to. You guys clowns, we're going to get armed. Where you going to get the arms from, fool? We don't need any of that. When Master Brahma said, you're the maker, owner, cream of the planet, Earth, God, the universe, he wasn't just talking. You control all of this. You just don't know it yet. But you're going to come in now, full knowledge of it pretty soon, because you're the gods. That don't mean somebody just walking around here talking about I'm a god. That means power and force. Elijah Muhammad told you, God means power and force. You got power and force, you just don't know it. That's when people are lost for lack of knowledge, and it's my job to make sure you get it. That's my job. Give you a thorough knowledge yourself. Because you're a God. You control all of this. You made all of this. That's not just talking. You gave form to everything. You gave form to our enemy. They didn't exist without us, but we used them because they're the personification. They're the personification of our energy deprivation. See? So in other words, if you got bad luck, man, bad luck, right? You can't see it's all over. You just got bad luck, man. This happened, that happened. I just got bad luck. Every time I try to do something, right? What if you could take your bad luck and put it into a personality? Now you can see it. That person, deal with that person as your bad luck because he's going to cause you all kinds of trouble. Wouldn't you rather that way? So that you can see it, because then you have the possibility to avoid it. I mean, let me get away from this person, stay away from him as much as I can. So we just gave them and made them a personification of our energy deprivation issue. See? And so, a little poetic idea. The fact is, when our energy deprivation is over, since they're the personification of it, that means they disappear too. It's so much I can tell you, brothers and sisters. I'm trying to get it to you. I'm trying to, every time I'm adding it, I'm just increasing the volume. Right? Pretty soon you're all going to get it. And you're going to walk this earth, right? Like you're supposed, like a God. We don't have to walk this word humble. They have to walk this word humble. Gods don't need to be humble. Come on, we need to be humble. No, they need to be humble. Because they ain't made a damn thing anywhere. We shouldn't be humble. We should be humble. No. They want to talk to us. That was a scientist talk to them. Y'all need to be humble. Show me something you made. Show me a tree you made. Show me anything that you made. They need to be humble. You don't need to be humble. And these sisters, they gods. Where do you think they came from? It was all one in the beginning. You got breasts, where do you think you got them from? You got them, you don't use them. Start using your head a little bit. And if you're going to take your strength, because we had the strength, had the beauty, then you're going to take your strength to abuse them, to run tyranny on them, then you're a fool, you're weak, you're a coward, you're a punk. Because they're equal to you. You got the strength, they got the abuse, and you're going to use your strength to, come on. That was the devil's way. Because they're tyrants by nature. So a sealed Bible gave them authority to do all that kind of stuff. Give them the information they need to rule. If you're going to give people a reason, if you're going to give people rule, a wicked people a rule, you're going to have to give them also the instruction on how to do their wickedness to rule. That's why I said they would give guidance. So how are you going to make a people that's going to make them shed blood and not give guidance on how to make them shed blood? And what they call the people, the books, that's in the sealed Bible, is how to make men shed blood. Because you read it, that's what all it's about. It's oppressing women. The women are begin to start a bam. In Genesis, the women ain't no good. They listen to Satan. They brought sin to the world. It start off with that. Because they make men shed blood, so they would give them the guidance to make. Because if you're going to make somebody that's going to make men shed blood, you're going to give them the guidance to do that effectively. But inside that bomb was another bomb. Just like they have thermonuclear bombs, you have a fission bomb, or there's a fusion bomb that's inside of a fission bomb. The fission bomb is so powerful, it explodes, that it ignites, takes that to ignite the fusion bomb. And that's what the scriptures are about. We have the fission bomb, which is sealed Bible, and by them exploding that 500 years ago, it put so much pressure on us, because we right at the center of it. Right at the center. It put so much pressure on us, right, that it formed us and Suleiman who ignite the fusion bomb that's more powerful to blow away all of that. That's what it's all about, brothers and sisters. It tells you, it says Eve, it says Mary, right? Mary was a virgin. America was a virgin country to the Europeans. It was a virgin country. And if it was virgin, that's what it's talking about. See? It was a virgin country. And it said the Spirit covered her and produced Jesus Suleiman. Who is the Spirit? The original nation we came off here slaves, right? And with the Spirit, the angel tells us with the Spirit. So we covered America, right? And produced what? That's what it's all about, brothers and sisters. Hope you understand. I'm going to leave it there. Assalamu alaikum.